that day. When my strength is failing, the end draws near, and my time has come. Still my soul will sing your praise. 10,000 years, 10,000 years, and then forever. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Worship, worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Listen, gentlemen, you know, the kingdom of God is like a game. And with every passing minute, the game keeps developing. I'm happy to announce to you today that the game of soul winning and evangelism is also advancing. That the Lord has fresh instructions for His people. He's not telling you that what we did before was wrong. He's telling you that there are new places He needs to go to. One day He sent out His disciples to cities that He Himself would later come to. So there are yet people that God wants to bring in. But the church is not ready. Because if you are not walking with Him, you won't even hear. You see, He's like oil. If you pour Him on a piece of equipment, He's going to permeate every nook and cranny of that equipment. He doesn't need your help. Oil doesn't need your help to get into the engine. Oil finds its way. It's lubricant. And it will massage its way into every part of that engine. There was a time when we were on the other side of the river. And the Lord said to us, it is time for outreach. And I just thought that what He meant was we should hit the streets and then try to preach. We printed tracts. But that's not what He was saying. God doesn't want to just give you instructions. He wants you to learn to talk with Him. When He says to you it is time for outreach, you ask Him, what is outreach? What kind of outreach? Who are the people I'm reaching? And so began a discussion with Him. And then He said to me, you will never be an effective preacher if all you emphasize are the things that divide us. He says you need to begin to think of the things that unite us or are common to us. So you can use that as a pedestal to reach the people. So when Jesus met farmers, He gave them the parable of seeds. When He met businessmen, He used language they could understand. He met fishermen, He used language they could understand. The kingdom never changed. The gospel did not change. The Lord did not change. But new and fresh opportunities were open for the same preaching of the gospel. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not change. But every day the game keeps developing. It keeps developing. Let me tell you something. And you may be seated and make notes. If you were in Egypt at the beginning of the captivity, no matter how prophetic your prophetic ministry was, you will not at the beginning of 400 years begin to tell them about the day of freedom. Will you? Isaiah, can you get up and tell the people who know they will be in captivity for 400 years? You tell them at the beginning that, your freedom is coming, your freedom is coming. They still have 390 years to go. That's the wrong prophecy for that season. There will be a time when you'll be telling people, brace up, guard the lions of your mind. There's a time when you tell people, when you go home, you will go in peace because they are going home. They don't have a choice. Then a time is going to come when it is like 390 years already. Then you begin to tell them, lift up your heads. You must learn to prophesy in season, accurately. And then when we were speaking with the Lord, he began to say to me, there are certain things that have been happening to everybody. And at that time, it was the peak of the scourge of HIV/AIDS. Then we made HIV/AIDS an outreach community. It's a pool where there's a lot of fish. They are wounded, broken. Some of them lived recklessly, but many of them were just victims. And we went out and we began to make forays in that world. You go on the walls and you see people write numbers. If you want to get married but you have HIV/AIDS, call this number. They have a community. If you don't let the Lord enlighten you, you won't know. Out of it, one of us gave birth to a hospital for people who had that condition but could not stand the stigma, so they could get medical care. Not only with medical care, but with Christ. And I'm happy to say that we made great inroads. One day we had a party. That's the best I can describe it. It was an outreach on sexually transmitted diseases. And over close to 1,000 people came. More than half of them were not believers in Jesus Christ. I cannot forget passing a little girl. She was standing by this Porsche car. Brand new. Slim little girl. And she was crying. And I said, what is it? She said, Kachiko, they said you are the pastor here, isn't it? I said, yes, I am. She said, I'm afraid. I said, why? She said, my father wants me to marry my cousin, but he's a rascal. And she pointed him out to me in the crowd. She said he had been raping her and sleeping with her. And she said she was afraid that she had the sickness. And I had to assure her and strengthen her. But she was still crying till the results came and they said negative. She collapsed like a cloth on the floor. What is common to us? Today, everybody thinks that ministry is philanthropy. In fact, preachers have the audacity to say that a hungry man cannot hear the gospel. That is abnormal imbecility. That's completely abominable. The gospel of Jesus, the spell of all spells. How do you even imagine that when a person is hungry, he cannot hear the gospel? So let's cook food. So people are multiplying schemes, but they do not have him besides them. Well, I heard him recently. Another season has come. And he said to me, you have done a lot of things already, but there's the need for a new evangelistic initiative. If you are interested in soul winning, you should be interested in what I'm about to say. If I fill up this church, how many people will be here at Kerele? How many? 2,000, 3,000 people? And you can pat yourself on the back and say, I have a great church, isn't it? But when John met him on the Isle of Patmos, his eyes were flames of fire. His hair was white as snow. He is not gray. He's the Ancient of Days. The only thing that resembles his hair is the harvest. He said the harvest is white like snow. And the problem is the laborers. There are few. And we are just multiplying our schemes. So you have 3,000 members. When you look into his eyes, you will know that there is much more outside than what is inside. Men can clap for you and say you have 10,000 members. That's a great church. What is 100,000? There are about 8 billion people on earth. 2 nations alone account for almost 3 billion. China and India. They don't know the Lord. But instead of people concentrating on preaching the gospel, we're multiplying all kinds of schemes. We're talking rubbish. We're doing rubbish outreaches. We have abandoned the gospel. Nothing can change a man like the gospel. Nothing. Because a man is impervious to anything you do until you speak the gospel. The gospel is the only thing that can bring man to the valley of decision, the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of weeping. And until man gets there, he's not compelled to make any decision. You're just massaging his ego. Look at Boko Haram. What do they want from you? Your life. They don't ask you for anything. They take your life. And when are we going to start taking lives? Look at Christmas. In December, churches go on holiday. Christians are on holiday. They don't come for service. They even tell you they deserve to rest. What did you do? This is your hour of business. Everybody else is in this business. My wife left here and she couldn't get to High Coast for almost an hour. They had to call me to tell me to take Narai because of beer parlors. Christians getting drunk. And the church is on holiday. Whole families have contrived to conspire against God and His holy see. You know, we have walked throughout this year, so we need to rest. What did you do? This is your hour of business. On Boxing Day, I saw queues in London, 2 kilometers, queuing to enter Selfridges to buy, because Boxing Day is the day for sales. The world does its business in its time. The church, regrettably, has failed. When is the best time to preach Christ doing? Is it not at Christmas? Boxing Day is the day after. That's how the world describes it. They call it the day after sales. New York, Tokyo, China, London, France, Paris. Everybody is shopping, celebrating that is Jesus' holiday. You are selling nothing. That's changed. Those of you who are just getting born again and you are desirous to inherit those kinds of ministries, I call you abominable. Shine your eyes. God is no more in that business. Let me tell you where He's at. He's in a new evangelistic initiative. I was in America. I was in Texas. And the Lord said to me, "Where are you?" And I said, "America." Of course. Because the Lord asked you stupid questions. How can you see me in America and you're asking me where am I? But I also knew better from the example of Ezekiel. If the Lord asks you a question, Bishop, He has a teaching He wants to teach you. He said to Ezekiel, "What do you see?" Was God blind? Ezekiel said, "I see dry bones." The Lord then asked him a stupid question. Can these bones live? How can they? When Joy's skull is sitting near Coyote's kneecap and Jonathan's metatarsals are close to Fas's tibia, bones are just mixed up. What had happened, Sheps, was that an enemy had eaten up God's people and scattered their bones. Ezekiel looked and he knew that, humanly speaking, nothing can be done. This is a heap. This is not even a set of skeletons. It's a heap. Is your life a heap tonight? Hear the gospel, perhaps for the first time. Ezekiel looked up and down. He said, "I know the safest answer." He said, only you know, Lord. Only you. Only you. Only you know. The one who knows is the one Toyosi was singing about. He's inside me. What is the implication of his being inside me? What's the implication? Then the Lord told him what to do. Speak, and he spoke. Then bone found bone. Pieces of bone were traveling to find their skeleton and set up. So now they were no more bones, they were now skeletons. And then God said, prophesy. And flesh filled them up. And leather, like bread leather, covered them, skin covered them. But they were lifeless. They were now dead bodies. They used to be scattered bones. Now they were skeletons. And then they moved on to becoming dead bodies. And the Lord said, call for breath. And he called for it. From the north, the south, the east, and the west. I call for breath. I said, I call for breath. Let me assure you, your greatest asset is the breath of God in your life. It's not your bank account. You've been a fool for too long. One day, my friend, he kept money in the bank. Kept about 10 million. And every time the naira, the dollar depreciated in value, he was calculating his money. I have like $10,000. One day he woke up and he didn't even have up to $3,000 because the naira had lost so much value. Then he turned and he said to me, every day you say this thing and I get upset with you. But what you are saying is true. You see, money is a deceiver. No matter how many times money fails, money has the capacity to make you a believer in it every time. There is no scam in this city that you have not been involved in. Where people are selling all kinds of scams. They say you should bring 20,000 and in 6 months you will be worth 10 million. How did you believe that? What are they selling? No, what are they selling? If they are selling something, why doesn't everybody know it? It's only them. Tinubu tried to become president of this country till he got it. What money didn't he have? If money could satisfy, wouldn't he stop and say, I have enough? It's a new evangelistic initiative. And I hear the Lord. And regrettably, I don't hear him within the city walls. I hear him outside saying, come, let me show you another city. Let me show you another people. Let me show you another river, a deeper river, a longer river, a healing river. It will heal every land it gets to. Then it will eventually get to the sea. I invite you tonight to come, let him show you another river. So I was in America. I was talking in my church. Jabbar was there, Janelle, and all the members were there. And then the Lord said to me, ask that girl beside you, what's her name? I said, what's your name, darling? And she said something like, Karabaka Halkokaha. I said, what kind of name is that? It's not Arabic. She said, no. I said, where are you from? She said, I'm American. And the Lord said, no, ask her where she's from. I saw her face. Her skin was like olive color. Her face was like an apple. You were unique. And she had black hair. But I knew she wasn't African. So I said, where are you from? Then she said to me, I'm American, I told you. I said, yeah, I know you're American, but where originally did you come from? Then finally she said to me, well, I'm Native American. That means I'm Indian. And I said, oh, it was your people that were wiped out so that this land could be possessed. And she said, yes, something like that. And I said, so do you have a fellowship of American Indians? I'd like to come and minister to you in your culture. And she said, oh no, there's no need, we're Americans. Then the Lord said to me, you go to America and you think you have reached America. You have a concert in New York and you get off and have the audacity to say you went to America. You didn't touch America. It's like going to Lagos. You hold a concert in Radisson Blu. You hold a concert at Glover Hall. And you think you have reached Lagos. The people in Isaliko, they don't know you. Oniru doesn't know you. Akwangbon doesn't know you. You cannot travel to Enugu and drop and go and eat and sleep in a hotel and then go out in the night to ShopRite And then you return, you say you went to Enugu. Which Enugu? Which Enugu? You didn't touch it. When are we going to start touching communities? So I said to her, if you can set up a fellowship with your sisters, next time I come, I like to talk to the American Indian. When God said to us, go into all the nations, He didn't mean geopolitics. He didn't mean go to France. When He said go to all nations, these nations didn't exist. So He was talking about the tribes, the ethnic groups. It's a target. If you go to a village today and you go to the palace, the entire officials of the palace will assemble if the king sits to hear you. And if the king receives Christ, you are likely going to get about 70 or 80% salvation in that community that day. You know why we are struggling? Because we are getting the wrong people saved. You are getting a man saved who has only 3 plots of land and he's guarding them like they are his life. When you get the king saved, he's the one that can tell you that land there, take it and build something for us. That's how the missionaries came. So I'm lusting. I'm lusting to go to Ogbomoso. I'm lusting to go to Oyo. I'm lusting to go to Ife. I'm lusting to go to Igboukwu. I'm lusting. I'm lusting. I'm looking for the people to preach to. I'm tired of trying to pour water in a cistern that is already full. I need empty spaces. The king is out there already. It's a new evangelistic initiative. Tonight, we're going to give you the words of Christ in red. I've often told people the secret to knowing God is spending time and paying the price to get Him. His words in red, they are not in the Bible for joke. There is study material. Some of us know what everybody said about Jesus, but we don't know what He said. You know, you open the Gospel of Mark, and the first thing Jesus spoke was when He ordered the withered hand to stretch forth. He said to them, stretch forth your hand. You cannot mistake the authority in the mouth of Jesus. You can't mistake the audacity, the temerity, the absolute disregard for any contention. Jesus just looked at the man, stretch forth your hand. If you read it 10 times, you will soon hear that thunder rising on the inside of you. The desire to look at blind eyes and say, see. That's all Jesus did. As He is, so are we. So they will give you the books. Forgive our typographical mistakes and all of that and typesetting errors. It's because they were done in a hurry just between yesterday and today. But I want to thank God for Pastor Francis, who was able to even still get it printed. When you get a copy of it, don't treat it as a religion. Go back and take your own Bible, and everywhere you see the words of Christ in red, mark them. Mark what He said. He asked the girl, who are your condemners? She said, I don't see them. He said, neither do I condemn you. How does the Messiah say that to a sinner? Neither do I condemn you. Then what did He come for? We think that the Messiah is an Igala policeman to slap you when you make a mistake and slap you to death. We have forgotten His saving grace. We have forgotten His mission of salvation. You want to hear gossip about people? Sit with Christians. Sometimes I get irritated that I got born again because there were honorable people in beer parlors. I don't find that in church. The Bible says every man trumpets his goodness, but a faithful man who can find? That's an indictment from the Word of God. Make this year your time with God. Study His words in red. Find out what He said about everything. Then come back and say, yeah, I'm ready to follow you. There are many things He will say that will repel you. They will repulse you. You'll be angry because of Jesus. The kinds of things he said. A little brother said to him, my senior brother, since our father died, has refused to share our inheritance with me. And I'm broke. Now, Jesus preached the right message. The life of a man does not consist in the abundance of things which he has or lacks. But he preached it to the wrong audience. Who should Jesus be rebuking? The senior or the junior brother? The senior. But Jesus turned to the junior brother, the complainant. I said to him, who has made me judge over you to share out inheritances? Be careful of greed and covetousness. How do you say that to the aggrieved party? I thought Jesus came to right wrongs. No, he's the wisdom of God. See, the senior brother was already eaten by greed. But the junior brother was not eaten by greed and covetousness. But he was about to be eaten up. And Jesus was saying to him, when did your father's property become your life? The life of a man does not consist in the abundance of things which he has or lacks. Beware! That's what Jesus said to him. I want you to get acquainted with him this year. If that's the last mission I do, I will do it with the last drop of my blood. And I'm not going to sit here. I've had my fill of church. It's time to go out. I'm going to go out and do the things that he has asked us to do. We'll start a Bible school this January. And this month, as we used to do, we will read the entire Bible in church. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's only Saturday we won't come. But if you're not careful, we'll even come on Saturday. Children's church can join us. We'll finish the Bible. We normally did it in a few weeks, 3 weeks. Just come with your Bible and markers. Just read along. And when you see an important verse, mark it. Don't study. Just mark it and continue. Finish the Bible. Know the story. Get acquainted with it. Bible school cannot teach you the Bible. Get acquainted with him. Job says it. Acquaint now yourself with him. It's a new evangelistic initiative. I know there are several ministers of the gospel in the house. And I salute you for coming. I've never done anything in this city without announcing it. The day we started church, I came back in from Asia. I told my wife, I said, tomorrow we're starting church. She said, with who? I said, with us. She said, where? I said, in our parlor. Is church any different? I knew my wife's auntie. She used to be in town here. And me and her son were friends. And we lived in the house. She started her beer parlor in her house. In the parlor there. She will buy 2 cartons of beer. We will drink it. She will also drink with us. Then she will go and meet her husband and say you should pay her, that he was the one who bought it. That's how businesses start. It's the same thing with church. Why do you have to rent a hall when nothing has started? Why are you looking for revenue when you haven't even met the king? He has not said a word to you. You're just looking to organize programs. You're not reaching out to the people he sent you to. You will soon travel to Italy and come back and say, I went to Italy. Did you go? Who did you meet? I went to Israel. And I didn't even go to Jerusalem. I only went to Mount Carmel, where Elijah called fire down from heaven. And I saw Gilboa from there. And I asked the Jews, where is the brook where Elijah killed 850 prophets? The brook of Kidron. And you know they didn't know. In Israel, both the Jews and the Muslims, they are dupes, scammers. I had to ask Jesus, these are your brothers. Because when I landed in the airport, 2 Yusufs met me. And they were all my taxi. The one that already carried my things told me, I'm the one now, I'm supposed to take you to Sharm el-Sheikh or whatever in Jordan. And we were going with him. When I now heard another person shouting, Chris Delvan. So I turned around and I looked at him. He said, see your picture. I am your original driver. So I had snapped myself and sent it to him. And I was wearing a conspicuously green jacket. So I asked this guy, who are you? Then he just turned to him in Arabic and began to say, why are you spoiling my business? And then he left me. No remorse. That's Israel. People will dupe you. You would think it's the Holy Land. Like everybody is holy. It's a lie. They are waiting for the gospel. And the greatest revival coming is going to be a merging of the church and the Jew. So stop going to Jerusalem. You are going to Mecca and pretending you went to Jerusalem. Because you come back, you too, you wish you will be called Al-Haji. Because you are JP, Jerusalem Pilgrim. Can you imagine? Is that a title? I've never wanted to go to Israel. There was no need. But I've always loved to go to Poland. I went to Auschwitz. I saw the concentration camps. I saw where Hitler killed the Jews because of their connection to Jesus. That made me believe the gospel more than any other thing else. I went to Germany. I saw what he did to the Jews. They created graves outside, graves with concrete. Hundreds of them, so that you will know how many Jews died. You never forget. That's a great witness. Your death is a witness. The witness. My daughter said to me, Daddy, I said yes. She said, tell my husband. I said, tell him what? She said, every time I lie down, every time I close my eyes, every time I study the scripture, all I hear is Lebanon, Palestine, Iraq, Syria, Iran. Who will take the gospel to them? So can you tell my husband to please release me? I leave him with the children and all the money. She's the one working. She said, I turn over everything to him. I just need to go. She was a Muslim before and got saved. And she's just hungry because the harvest is white. If you see Jesus tonight, his eyes are flames of fire. The fire that is burning him is what is making his hair white like snow. The fire is a passion for souls. Who will go for us? Some of you are even tired. You think you are a retired evangelist already. Look at Baba. I was hugging mommy and I saw her looking at me funnily. Then I realized it wasn't joy. I thought it was joy. They closed their own crossover and they are here to come and have crossover with us. They hear the Spirit. Something is brewing. Don't be left out. Don't be left out. Pay your vows. How many times do you sit in the presence of God and every time they speak you say, when I leave, I'm going to do this. And then immediately you leave, you forget. Pay your vows. Don't be deceived. God himself cannot be mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he reap. With that, I'm declaring the new evangelistic initiative a reality. It's not an invitation for me to organize programs. It's a message to share so that you can get on the bandwagon of Jesus. The Bible took time to say, when riches increase, don't put your heart on them. You think it's a joke? You think it's a joke? There was a time my prayer life died. Early in marriage. And I went to God because there was a popular pastor then who was preaching about demons that resist you. He said prayer demons. That when you go to pray, some prayer demons will come. You just Then I said to the Lord one day, I couldn't pray, Shia. The Lord woke me up and I couldn't pray. And I said to him, Kai, there are prayer demons that are harassing me. The Lord said, shut up, there is no prayer demon there. It's your wife that's killing you. I said, how? Then I saw her. Because we just got married. When I sit for dinner, my wife will bring the pot of soup to the table. She has already served me 3 pieces of meat. Then she will tell me, do I want pomo? And I will say yes, she will add. What about this shaki? I will say yes, she will add. What about this cow leg, boneless? I will say yes, she will add. Very soon, there will be no rice. There will just be meats. Then the Lord said, she is mothering you to death. You too, put a knife in your throat when you come to the table of a king. Because your wife is a king. One day I was drinking, what do you call it? That chocolate. She literally wanted to empty the whole can for me in my cup. It's love. But Kayode, when I climb stairs, I will be wheezing. And I was thinking is what? Evidence of good living. Because your tummy is like this now. I had to beg her. I said, please, sweetheart, let's be moderate. But we were only 2, no child. And her joy is to see me eat a lot of her food. But in eating a lot of her food, I do not have the stamina again to stand with Jesus and pray. And he blesses those who stand by night. Can you hear his voice tonight? In unorthodox ways, he wants you to take the gospel. He wants you to go to ethnic communities. He wants you to ask him for the nations. Command me, he said, the ends of the earth. Don't do what you think is ministry. Ask him what he wants you to do. Target them and take the gospel. Don't take clothes. Don't take food. Don't take money. Send me your bank account. It's a good way of escaping to preach the gospel. And somebody sends you their bank account, you send them 20K, you become their God. I used to do that until death nearly killed me. We were overwhelmed with debt. Please don't walk out because you hear me talking now. Humble yourself. There's nowhere you are going. Your bed is not as important as the gospel. I'm speaking these things under duress. Normal me, I will settle. Yeah, my wife wants to settle. Have houses. Have car. Somebody said he wants a Lamborghini. I said, where will you drive it? In Kaduna? Do you know how high a Lamborghini is? It's literally on the ground. So which road will you drive it on? Just so that you sound like you are making some sense? How many people have sold you a dummy? All of us are supposed to be poor, desirous to be rich. It's a lie. I'm not poor. Have you seen the breast of a mother? Overflowing with milk. Children suck and suck and suck, and the rich suck, the young, the poor suck. We're blessed. But we're people who have never stopped to give him thanks. If he could do it when you were helpless, Kayode, is it now that he forgot that you will eat? Is it now? Who was it that provided that sack of milk? Mothers are wicked. They suck, they suck. You would think that their mother's breast will become a slipper. So the next children, you'll be wondering, what will they suck? Immediately another child enters the womb, the breast fill up again. That's God's supply. I was listening to the prayers tonight that he will satisfy me with provision, extraordinary provision. Where is that God? He has not traveled. He's still here. It's his people that are missing. Those who will testify of his goodness. It's time for us to go to outreach. Ask God to show you new centers of outreach where the fish are gathered. What is it that commonly unites them? I met young people, and you know what they said? He said self-love, oh, self-love. Omo, na self-love. Make you love yourself. And immediately, the word of the Lord rose up in my spirit. I said, shut up with that nonsense. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. That's the greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it, love your neighbor and love yourself. So where did you get self-love from? What is self-love? Take care of your pleasure. So you feel like smoking anything, smoke it. You feel like drinking anything, drink it. They're even begging you to stop, and you are even mocking the people. Are you okay? Are you okay? The king is coming, sir. The death you hear is nothing. It's the second death that is wahala. When he will say to you, depart from me, I know you not. Hallelujah. He said, for God so loved the world that he gave what? That whosoever believeth in him should not perish. When do you perish? Perish is not physical death. Perish is when you hear him say, depart from me. I didn't know you. I even met girls who are telling me they can got monkey like you. You cannot marry a pastor. Do you know who the pastor is? The pastor is Jesus. That's the pastor. What he has is what he sends. When he sends men, he makes them pastors because he is the shepherd. The good shepherd. Lays down his life for the sheep. The chief shepherd. The rewarder of all. The great shepherd. Those are his three ministries of being a shepherd. One girl said, because of sex, we go marry one man, we no go feel satisfy him. So let us do it before, so that we will know. Dundee. Everything in life can be learned. Did you know how to swallow before? Eh? It's not only milk you could take. Now you're eating a bar, pounded yam, roasted plantain, banana, everything. You are combining everything. How did you get it? You learned it. Who will go for us in this season? The Lord is asking, who will go? Who will stand for us? The enemy is at the city gates. Who? Who will take the battle to the gates of the enemy? I wish I was your age. And I'm a young boy still. But I've done so much. And my body is tired. But I'm ready to burn it up. Who wants a body? If the body is only fit for hell. I don't want it. If you need a man to walk with you, let me be the one. If you need a heart where you can hide your word in, here's my heart, it's your own. If you need a heart where you can hide your prayers in, let me be your man. When all is said and done, at the setting of the sun, Lord, I'll still ride with you. When the going is rough and the road is tough, oh Lord, let me ride with you. If the world forsakes you and I'm the last man standing, it's all right, oh Lord, I will still stand with you. If I was ever asked a question as to who owns my soul, here's my heart, it's yours. The tide is rising higher and higher, but let me sail with you forsakes you and I'm the last man standing, then so be it, Lord, I'll still go with you. If there ever was a question